The knock came at 11:43 p.m. 3 quick taps. Then silence. I knew that knock better than my own heartbeat. "Doors open," I shouted from the kitchen while balancing a greasy pizza box against my hip. A second later, Tyler walked into my apartment carrying the exhausted energy of a man who'd worked too many hours and slept too few. His hoodie was damp from the rain outside. Dark curls dripping onto the hardwood floor. "You look terrible," I said. "Thanks, nice to see you too. That'll be $20 for the emotional support." He snorted softly, kicked the door shut behind him, then froze. Not slowed down, not paused, frozen. His eyes locked onto the couch, and suddenly every sound in the apartment disappeared beneath the crushing silence that followed. Emily sat there wrapped in one of my blankets, knees tucked against her chest. Her mascara had long since faded under swollen eyes. A half-empty mug of tea rested between trembling hands. Tyler stared at her like he was looking at a ghost. Emily looked up slowly. For a moment, none of us moved. Then Tyler spoke in a voice so low it barely sounded human. "What the hell is she doing here?" The question hit harder because of who asked it. Tyler wasn't just my best friend. He was my brother in every way except blood. We met at 16 after I got suspended for punching a senior who wouldn't stop shoving him around in gym class. We'd been inseparable ever since. College roommates. Best men at each other's imaginary future weddings. The kind of friendship people spend entire lives hoping to find once. But there was one subject we never touched. Emily Carter, his younger sister. The hurricane his family pretended not to talk about. The girl who disappeared 3 years ago without warning. Until tonight. "She needed somewhere to stay," I said carefully. Tyler's jaw tightened instantly. "No. She had nowhere else." I said no. Emily looked down at the tea in her hands as if she expected it to protect her from him. Tyler stepped forward. "You don't get to show up now." Her lips parted, but no words came out. I moved between them without thinking. "She's freezing, Ty." "I don't care." The words landed hard. But I knew him well enough to hear what was hiding underneath them. Fear. Pure fear. Tyler wasn't angry because she came back. He was angry because part of him never stopped waiting for her. "She was sleeping behind a gas station," I said quietly. "In November." That finally shook him, just for a second. His eyes flickered toward her cracked sneakers peeking out beneath the blanket. Emily looked smaller than I remembered. Frailer. When I first met her years ago, she was loud and reckless and impossible to ignore. She used to burst into Tyler's room unannounced, steal our fries, and insult my taste in music like it was her full-time job. Now she looked like someone trying not to take up space. Tyler rubbed a hand across his face slowly. "What happened to you?" Emily swallowed hard. "I got tired." "That's not an answer." "No," she whispered. "It's the truth." The apartment filled with another long silence. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Somewhere outside, a siren echoed through the city. Tyler finally looked at me. "Can I talk to you?" I nodded. We stepped into the kitchen while Emily remained curled on the couch like she was bracing for impact. The moment we were alone, Tyler lowered his voice sharply. "You cannot let her stay here. She has nowhere else to go. She always has somewhere else to go. That's what Emily does. She disappears, finds someone stupid enough to rescue her, burns their life down, then leaves. That doesn't sound like her." "That's because you knew the fun version." I leaned against the counter carefully. "What really happened?" Tyler laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "You know the last time I saw her before tonight?" I stayed quiet. "She stole Mom's jewelry box." I blinked. "What?" "She took everything. Rings, necklaces, watches, even Dad's wedding band after he died. That doesn't make sense." "She was using." The word hit the room like shattered glass. I looked toward the living room instinctively. Emily sat motionless beneath the blanket. "You never told me." "Because it wasn't your burden." Tyler's voice cracked slightly on the last word, and suddenly I saw it. Not anger, exhaustion. The kind that settles into your bones after loving someone too hard for too long. "She vanished after that," he continued quietly. "Mom cried herself sick for months. Every unknown phone call scared the hell out of us. Because we thought she was dead somewhere." I exhaled slowly. Then something else clicked into place. "How did she find me?" Tyler hesitated. That hesitation told me everything before he even spoke. "She always liked you." I stared at him. Tyler looked away first. "She was 17 and stupid," he muttered. "But every time you came around, she acted different." I remembered suddenly, little things, the way Emily always lingered around our conversations longer than necessary. The way she laughed harder at my jokes than anyone else. The night she asked me if I believed people could love someone at the wrong time. I thought she was talking about somebody else. She showed up at your place because she trusted you, Tyler said. And that's exactly why this is dangerous. Before I could answer, a muffled sound came from the living room. A sob, not loud, not dramatic, the kind a person tries desperately to hide. Tyler closed his eyes instantly, and in that moment I realized something devastating. No matter how angry he was, he still loved her more than himself. We walked back out together. Emily quickly wiped her face, embarrassed to have been heard. Tyler stood there staring at her for several seconds. Then he quietly asked, "Are you clean?" She nodded once. "How long?" 14 months. "Do you expect me to believe that?" "No," she whispered. "I just hoped you might." Tyler looked away sharply like the sound of her voice physically hurt him. I handed him the beer I'd opened earlier, but he ignored it. "What happened tonight?" he asked her. Emily hesitated, then slowly pulled up the sleeve of her sweater. Bruises, dark fingerprints around her wrist. My stomach turned instantly. Tyler's face lost all color. "Who did that?" She stayed silent. "Emily." "I left," she said quietly. "That's all that matters." Tyler took one dangerous step forward. "Who touched you?" Her eyes filled again, and suddenly, she looked less like the reckless girl he remembered, and more like someone barely surviving herself. "It was my fault," she whispered automatically. The second those words left her mouth, something inside Tyler broke. "No," he snapped immediately. "Don't say that. Don't ever say that." Emily flinched. Tyler noticed instantly, and the anger vanished from his face so fast it was painful to watch. He sat down across from her slowly, elbows resting on his knees. "You're scared of me now?" "No." "Yes, you are." She looked down. Tyler's eyes filled with tears he clearly hated having. "I spent 3 years angry at you," he admitted quietly. 3 years rehearsing everything I'd say if I ever saw you again. Emily's lips trembled. "But all I can think right now," he continued, voice cracking completely, "is that you could have died." The room went still. Emily stared at him for one long second before breaking completely, not crying, breaking. She folded forward into herself, with this shattered sound that didn't even seem human anymore. "I tried to come home twice," she sobbed. "I sat outside Mom's house in my car for hours both times." Tyler covered his mouth. "I was ashamed," she whispered through tears. "I didn't know how to let you see me like that." He moved before thinking, crossed the space between them, pulled her against him, and suddenly both of them were crying like children, years of anger collapsing under the weight of relief. I looked away instinctively because the moment felt too raw to witness. Emily clung to him desperately. "I'm sorry," she kept whispering. "I'm so sorry." Tyler held the back of her head like he was terrified. She'd disappear again if he loosened his grip. "You idiot," he choked out through tears. "You absolute idiot." She laughed weakly through sobs, and somehow that made everything even sadder. After a while, Tyler finally looked up at me. "She can stay." Emily immediately shook her head. "No, I don't want to ruin." "You're staying," he said firmly. She stared at him carefully like she didn't trust kindness anymore. Then quietly asked the question that shattered me more than anything else that night. "Even after everything?" Tyler looked at her for a long time. Then he said softly, "You're still my sister." Emily covered her face and cried harder. Around 2 in the morning, Tyler finally fell asleep in the armchair beside the couch. I found Emily standing alone near the kitchen window sometime later, watching snow begin to fall through the city lights. "You okay?" I asked quietly. She smiled faintly without turning around. I forgot what safe felt like. The honesty in her voice hit me harder than I expected. "You don't have to keep surviving alone anymore." She looked down at her hands. "I used to have the biggest crush on you," she admitted suddenly. I laughed softly. "Used to?" That finally earned the smallest real smile from her. "You were nice to me before people expected anything from me," she said. "Do you know how rare that is for girls like me?" "Girls like you?" "The messy ones." I leaned beside her near the window. "You were never messy, Emily." She looked at me then. Really looked at me. "You have no idea what I've done." "No," I admitted. "But I know what it costs people to hate themselves forever." She stared at me silently, then finally whispered the sentence that changed everything. "I came here tonight because I knew if you opened the door, maybe I wasn't completely ruined yet." Something inside my chest tightened painfully, because I understood then that this night had never really been about shelter. It was about hope, one last fragile attempt to believe she was still worth saving. I reached over carefully and took her freezing hand in mine, and for the first time since she arrived, Emily stopped shaking.